April was weird, wasn't it? Yes, the answer is yes, there's no other answer. Everything has gotten incredibly weird. But the gaming world is always weird. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the weird gaming stories we saw in April 2020. Starting off at number 10 is this beautiful forest made in Dreams. Alright, the first video I saw of this, I didn't understand what it was. It got sent to me by one of the other gameranx people, and I was just like, it's just a video of a forest. Because this is 720p, the compression made it look kind of like a real video. And I was like, whatever, why are you sending me this? And then I noticed that little Dreams watermark, and I was like, what? I immediately clicked the YouTube account that uploaded it, Bad Robo, and saw that they had uploaded a 1080p bit of forest footage. And you can see that it is Dreams. A little bit better in that version of it. However, it's insane. There is no good reason why anyone should have been able to do this. It's beyond beautiful. You should check out their channel. Actually, it's, again, Bad Robo. Over the last month, they've posted about 6 videos about this forest they're making, and it's incredible. Like, it's just weird how realistic it looks. It is by far one of the best things I've seen come out of Dreams, and Dreams has produced some pretty awesome stuff. Moving on to number 9, a scale model of the PlayStation came out, and people started building them and getting emotional online about it. I don't know how to explain this exactly, but there are a number of articles of people who bought this model, built it, and posted about how it made them nostalgic and emotional. It's not that I necessarily find that super weird or anything. I mean, I get nostalgic from stuff like that too, but when you read one of these things, it just comes off odd. Yes, I certainly appreciate the PlayStation's design. I definitely believe it's cool to see the innards in such a way. But I guess even in a couple of ways, it's almost weird that a model of the PlayStation exists to build like in the same way a model of a train is. Like in 30 years, are like grandparents gonna be building model PlayStations with their grandkids being like nostalgic in the same way people were about trains? That just, that makes me feel very old, and therefore I'm going to call it weird. At number 8 in Dr. Mario World, Nintendo's phone version of the Dr. Mario franchise, we were essentially given the proof that Dr. Mario may not actually be that qualified, as he was contextualized by yet another colleague. Specifically, that colleague is the Goomba Tower, which is 3 Goombas stacked on top of each other with a doctor coat and that mirror thing on the third one's head. Definitely not a doctor. Just gonna say that. Sorry, I do not believe it. Just don't. Not gonna either. I mean, this is the least believable one in a game where Dr. Baby Mario exists. Dr. Donkey Kong. Sorry, even those are more believable as doctors than a pile of mushrooms. Bad mushrooms. Like, it's dumb. It's ridiculous. If Dr. Mario was in fact a real doctor. At number 7, a group that preserves retro games by the name of the Japan Retro Game Association is donating 100 Super Nintendo systems to families with children 16 or under who are staying indoors during the stuff that's going on right now. Let me just go ahead and say, like, perfect idea. Expose these kids to old games. Old games are great. The Super Nintendo is easily one of my favorite systems. Like, at the time I played a lot more Sega Genesis, but looking back, I pretty much love both equally. And the games that are on that will just give you endless replay value. This is the best time to introduce children to that. I don't think that it's necessarily weird, but it's out of the ordinary in that in some ways you might expect this to not be a retro thing. Like, I could see people introducing children to games with current systems, and I think that it's cool and a bit out of the ordinary that a retro gaming association that's not really able to do events during this time is like, no, we'll just let the kids play the damn things. At number 6, Square Enix published an update to Final Fantasy IX that did some interesting things. Well, actually, one mainly interesting thing. I mean, it's a plain patch for it. It looked like it was just going to update a couple of things, and instead, it deleted most of the game's files, which is hilarious. Like, they did fix it pretty quick, and that's good. Now, fortunately, Final Fantasy IX is a Steam game, and saves are stored in the cloud on Steam. That's always a good thing, because it just basically completely empties the directory. Still, not every game uses cloud saving. Not every game uses Steam. So this just really serves as a reminder to always back up anything like that. Because if Steam didn't cloud save, or if you had some sort of issue with your cloud saving, you'd be screwed. Moving on to number 5, in Final Fantasy XIV, a victim of the current pandemic got a full funeral procession in which hundreds of people showed up. Now, obviously, this isn't like great. We don't want people to die. We don't want to think about, you know, what happens when other people we play games with just suddenly sort of disappear. But it is definitely touching when we see these types of funeral processions happen. I mean, it's obviously not the first one we've seen in a game, but certain people you just know garner this sort of respect within a community that people feel compelled to do something. Obviously, it's kind of sad because not everybody can really spend their time with each other now, but it's nice that there's at least some way to do this for these folks who knew this person and were affected by them. At number 4, a Chinese billionaire will play video games with you for $100 an hour, which I can't imagine why on earth he would charge any money for this. He is a billionaire. He is playing video games with people. It's such a bizarre prospect to me. I just don't even know where to start. It's some guy who's a kid of some very rich person who is also very rich himself, and he's also an esports guru, apparently. It's not even like a big time get as far as money. Like, people will spend obviously not that much. The average of what people make doing this is like $1,100 for full-time employment a month. That's like nothing, and this guy's a billionaire. I just don't get this in any way, shape, or form. It's so bizarre to me. Like, don't you have anything better to do, dude? I could understand somebody who's like good at games and poor being like, well, I could get $1,100 every month for playing games. I'm gonna do that. But a billionaire? Why? Why, sir? At number 3, a new PlayStation 4 emulator has come out. Just keep in mind, that doesn't mean you can just like start throwing in PlayStation 4 games and playing them. No. I mean, it can run commercial games, don't get me wrong, but it runs them as slideshows. That's good. That's not a bad thing. That's a big step. I mean, you're years away from people actually just sort of complaining about your emulator for not playing a certain game at full speed or perfectly or able to upscale something. You're ways away from that, but you're getting there. At number 2, Fallout 76 NPCs began looting player corpses. This means that they would steal weapons, steal items, and they'd never give them back. Now, NPCs now actually exist in Fallout 76. I had stopped paying attention long ago, but that's an important thing to acknowledge here. I mean, cool, right? That's a thing that Fallout has been known for decades. But you know, the sneakiest thing is that they end up wielding these weapons and things that they're taking from your bodies, and that's how you know they took them. In some ways, it's kind of cool. It's interesting. Maybe it's not great as far as, you know, putting in work into a game, getting something, and not being able to retain it after death. But yeah, it's an unintentional bug. It's been acknowledged. But, you know, avoid taking anything that's too important out to an NPC PvE event, because they're gonna take it from you if you die. And finally, at number 1, they've quarantined the Warzone Cheaters. They finally did it. It's a little bit better than what we talked about in our previous video. I remember talked about this. You can watch that video. It's actually, I think, a pretty good video, if I do say so myself. But they quarantined them. They made it so that the cheaters will play with the other cheaters, which I think is actually kind of cool, because if you're a cheater, you're sort of quarantined off into another area of the game where everybody who like doesn't respect the rules of the game and comes up with these innovative ways to destroy people who do respect the rules of the game are all stuck with each other and perhaps might come up with some totally insane ways to win in these situations. I almost want like a cheat mode when I think about this more. Like, I would love to spectate professional cheaters That sounds actually interesting to me, but I don't know if that's what the result of this is going to be. We'll see. That's all for this month. We will, of course, be back next month with more weird stories. Leave us a comment as to what you thought was the weirdest, or if there was something you thought that was even weirder that happened. We'd love to hear about it, of course. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see those videos first is to click the subscribe button and enable all notifications. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time, right here on gameranx.